Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a TikTok keto sausage. This is from Jackie from Low Carb State of Mind, and it's amazing. So what we have in this bowl is about 8 ounces of baby bella mushrooms, sliced, 1/2 green pepper, 1/2 red pepper, diced, and 1/2 of an onion diced. The original recipe calls for 1 and 1 and 1. However, my family's not that crazy about the peppers and onions part. What I have here is about 4 cloves of garlic minced, as well as 1 teaspoon of jarred garlic, just to do a different flavor profile. We have some Italian seasoning, and then we have some mild Italian sausage. We also are going to add some mozzarella cheese, Parmesan cheese, and some garlic powder as needed. Salt and pepper as well. So the first thing you're going to do is preheat your oven to 425 and get out a cookie sheet with a piece of parchment paper on it. You can do foil, but parchment paper is better. Then we're going to turn a large skillet on high. And just because we're going to saute these vegetables down really quickly. I didn't have any avocado or grapeseed oil here. You want to use a neutral oil. Well, a keto-friendly oil, let's put it this way. Olive oil is fine, but this is what I'm using. And you just want to let it get hot before you move on and put your vegetables in there. Now, you guys know I have told you a lot of times before the secret to getting a really good flavor on your peppers and onions is you salt them. Same thing with mushrooms. It pulls the water out and helps them cook that much faster and that much better. So just going to dump this. Again, if you want the full pepper and onion experience, or if you want to add this not keto to pasta or something, go ahead and double all of those vegetables if you want to. And you can also eliminate the mushrooms. The mushrooms was just, Jackie had shared it, and then she shared sometimes she had some mushrooms, and I did, and I love them, so they went on there. Now, I have also made this with provolone. I told you before we're going to do mozzarella cheese and Parmesan cheese, but I've also made this with sliced provolone as well, which I really do like it. It gives a nice, sharp flavor and a good contrast to the, when I do like sweet sausage, it makes a really good contrast to that. Okay? Now, if you want to speed up the process and steam your vegetables a little bit just to make it that much easier, you can go ahead and throw a cover on here. It will speed up the process of cooking, but I really just wanted them to be just a little soft because they are going to bake in the oven for a little bit. Now, full disclosure, I'm going to bake mine for 20 minutes. If you saw the thumbnail picture, that was a nice dark cheese. I kind of like that. I'm the girl who used to eat the crust, the cheese on the crust at the end of a Sicilian pizza. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you know, you know. So I like my cheese like crispy like that. If you don't, then that's fine. Just cook your sausage a tiny bit more on the pan, and your vegetables maybe even a tiny bit more in the pan. But the way people eat their vegetables, I've learned since being married, is that people like them different. Jim likes his broccoli crispy. Mom likes her broccoli not so crispy. You know, it's a matter of personal preference. So you just remind yourself that the vegetables will cook in the oven a little bit as well. Okay? So while we're waiting and they're cooking down, we're going to go ahead and we're going to slit each sausage down the middle. I just wanted to show you a trick. You could use a knife, and that was my paring knife. But the trick that I came up with is I use a scissor. This is a kitchen shear from the Dollar Tree. Betty Crocker, gotta love her. It makes really quick work of this. Now, I'm just doing this. We're not going to get ready to fry them until the vegetables are done. But I'm just doing this and cutting around the ends as well. Because what we're going to do is we're actually going to like butterfly these sausage. And we're going to fry them on their cut side, which makes them just amazing. The skins will shrink up a little bit on the back, and that's fine. If you, before you serve them, if you want to take the skins off, you can. But they are not objectionable to me. If they're objectionable to you, then you can go ahead and do that if you want to, okay? Now, we're going to do this with all 5 sausage. If you have a bigger family or you're making a bigger portion, you might want to go ahead and double this. You can. You won't have to increase the cooking time in the oven at all. You just have to increase your, obviously the amount of vegetables you have and how many sausage you have, plus how much cheese you have. Okay? I have cleaned the raw sausage meat off of the scissor and just threw it in with the vegetables. That's fine. We don't waste anything around here. You know that. So this isn't going to take very, very long, even though we didn't cover it, because again, we just want a little color and a tiny bit of translucence on the onions. When the onions and the peppers start to get just like that little bit of clearness, that's when we're going to go ahead and take them off. The reason is because, first of all, the least amount you cook your vegetables, the more nutritious they are. But you also want to like have, I don't know, I like the vegetables to have a little bit of a crunch. So what we have is like a gooey cheese, like a meaty sausage, and then like a crunchy vegetables. It just to me is like all of the textures. Now I mentioned earlier that you can go ahead and you can add this, if you want to make extra vegetables, you can add to some pasta if you're not doing low carb, or you can do zoodles or spaghetti squash just for like a lower carb option. So now what we're doing is we have just about that clearness. We're going to go ahead and add the garlic. We just have to like cook the garlic down a little bit. Just add just till it gets like aromatic. When you start to smell garlic, basically when you want to stick your face in the frying pan, that's when you know it's done. That's how I feel sometimes. I'm like, oh, do I have to continue to cook this? Can't I just eat it? Now I'm adding just however I eyeball my Italian seasoning. But if you're a measuring kind of girl, it's anywhere between 2 teaspoons to a tablespoon. You really want to get some good seasoning on here. There is flavor in the sausage, but nothing but cheese flavor in the cheese. And if you don't like all of the Italian herbs, which is basically basil and there's oregano in there, I would go ahead and just at least do oregano if you can tolerate that. Okay? And of course we salted these vegetables, and we always add black pepper at the end if it's something that you want. Now, my family is very sensitive to that. But I'm going to go ahead because this is just for me and Jim. Okay? Now, just a minute or two more on the garlic, and then we're going to go ahead and transfer this to a bowl. Same pan. And honestly, this pan can go in the oven, so I really could have just continued to bake it on this pan if you wanted like a one-pan dish. But I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to the cookie sheet just to show you how Jackie taught us to make it. Okay? Now I'm doing this in real time because it is a really quick recipe. The longest time is how it bakes in the oven. Otherwise, the cook time, minus however long you bake it in the oven, is just roughly about 10 to 11 minutes. So because I have physical limitations at times, I like to have meals that don't have to stand at the stove for a very long time. And this is one of them. This is a meal that I don't have to stand there for a really long time. And it's got all of the food groups if you're doing keto, or make a pasta at the same time, and then all the food groups if you're not. If that makes any sense. Okay? Now, what I'm adding here, you don't have to add, but we just had fresh oregano in the refrigerator from one of the previous recipes from the Keto Diabetes book, and we went ahead and just added it because just a different flavor level. I've told you guys lots of times before, but if you're new to my channel, maybe you don't know this, dried herbs and fresh herbs have different flavor profiles. That's why we do fresh garlic and dried garlic, because it does have different tastes. There's different taste levels. You use way more fresh ingredients than you do dry ingredients. The dry ingredients are usually almost 99.9% of the time are stronger. So keep that in mind. Now I'm just going to go ahead and transfer all the vegetables to a bowl. Again, just get them out of the way while we go ahead and we fry up these sausages. Now, same pan like I mentioned, we are going to add more olive oil. Even though this is a non-stick pan, the olive oil does add flavor. But depending on your butcher and your sausage, how much fat you're actually going to get out of them. You don't want to think about, you want to think about whether or not your sausage is going to stick. Okay? So now that we're just going to open them all up, again, remember we cut them with the scissor. We're just going to a little bit of butterflying. I didn't add any more oil. My sausage did not need it. As soon as I opened the sausage, I saw all those beautiful fat pockets, and I said, that's fine. My pan here will fit all 5. If you're going to do a double batch, you want to fry them in batches. I mean, that sounds silly and redundant, but if you're going to make if you're going to double or triple the recipe, you want to fry them in batches. You don't want to crowd your pan or else you won't get that good browning, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? So if you haven't yet prepared your pan, this is a great time to do it. You just get a piece of parchment paper, like I said, and put it on a cookie sheet. You don't need to grease it, unless my suggestion would be if you're going to make the peppers and onions pasta sauce, you might want to add some more olive oil to it if you want to, just to like create more of a sauce. If you're going to increase your vegetables and you want to make like that sausage and pepper pasta. We actually have a recipe on my channel for sausage and pepper pasta if you're interested. Basically, it's just sausages and peppers, sausage cut up, well, chopped up, in peppers and olive oil and garlic that you just throw over pasta, and it's amazingly delicious. Obviously, it's got herbs and stuff in it, but that's what I'm talking about, enhancing it in that way. Okay? Now, as I mentioned before, sometimes I use provolone. This five sausage will hold 2 pieces of provolone really well. The round kind that you get in the package is all we really get. Take a leaning break if you need to, folks. Take a leaning break if you need to. And just that quickly, it's already time to turn them over. Again, like I said, I like my cheese crispy, so I'm not cooking them like a long time in the frying pan. If you like your cheese gooey and soft, barely melted, go ahead and make sure you cook your sausage just a little bit longer and bake it a little bit less, okay? Again, that's like a personal preference thing, and it's depending on what you like and all the different variables, okay? But I just want to get a little color on the inside of the sausage. Sausage themselves don't take very long to bake. I like 20 minutes to 25 minutes when they're whole. And really that's all it does take, depending on the thickness, of course. If you get, thinner or thicker sausage, it might vary, but that's it. So that just a minute on both sides. I feel like it was like 3 minutes on the first side and maybe 2 minutes on the back. And then you're going to line them up. You want to make sure that they touch so that you don't lose all your vegetables in the spaces. And you want to lay them cut side up. So the first side that we fried, you want to make sure that side goes up. Okay? And then we're going to take our peppers, onions, and mushrooms, and we're just going to lay them on top of the sausage. It's really that simple. But again, I wanted to do this in real time to show you guys that if you have just 10 minutes, 15 minutes to stand at the stove, this is something you can do. If you got tired at this point, you could actually assemble this on your table counter or on a seat. But to me, it goes really very quickly, so I went ahead and I did it standing here. Now, again, the cheese is a matter of personal preference. The original recipe, she had mozzarella and actually just mozzarella, now that you think about it. I was the one who said go ahead and add Parmesan. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to add just as much mozzarella as we want, and then Parmesan. Now, if you're doing keto, you really want to grate your own cheeses, because when you buy store-bought cheeses that are already shredded, they often have cornstarch to keep it from sticking to itself. But like I've mentioned before on my channel, it's really hard to get a good piece of mozzarella cheese here in Rolla. So I hear my dad from above just yelling at me, but he understands. He's also telling me, why did I move away from the ocean? But that's a whole nother story. And then a generous amount of Parmesan cheese. This is actually what I like to do is I take a old mason jar with the Parmesan cheese lid, and I like to mix a shredded and a grated. This way I get a variety of cheeses. And then I'm going to bake it for 20 minutes. You could do anywhere from 10 to 15, depending on, 10 to 20 if you like it cheesy, crispy. But 10 to 15 minutes for your regular gooey cheese. And that's it. It is absolutely delicious. I swear I want you to try it, and I want you to tell me all about it. And if you are interested in following a great keto cook, definitely check out Jackie. Jackie is the Low Carb State of Mind over on Instagram and TikTok. So I think I'm going to try to link her Instagram in the description box down below. And of course, we always have the recipe down there as well. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share and all of the things. And as always, you guys take care. God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye.